In the deepest corner of Gru's lab, where half-finished gadgets hummed and beakers bubbled with suspicious colors, Dr. Nefario stood proudly over his latest invention, the reverse ray. Its purpose, at least according to him, was to undo mistakes instantly, whether it was burnt toast, a spilled smoothie, or a bad haircut. The minions, drawn by the flashing lights and a button the size of a dinner plate, gathered around in a tight yellow cluster. Bob tilted his head, Stuart reached for his ukulele as if to play an invention song, and Kevin simply squinted, suspicious. Before anyone could stop him, Stuart pressed the button. A burst of purple light zipped through the room, zapping every minion in sight. At first, nothing seemed different, until Bob suddenly began spinning a set of nunchucks like a martial arts master, slicing through a hanging banana peel in midair. Kevin's jaw dropped. Stuart, meanwhile, was staring at a chalkboard filled with complex formulas and calmly writing out chemical equations that even Dr. Nefario didn't fully understand. Kevin tried to call them over, but found himself tripping over his own feet and mumbling nonsense. Their talents had swapped. The lab became a chaos zone in seconds. Bob used his new combat skills to demolish a tower of empty beakers, grinning as glass tinkled to the floor. Stuart was sketching blueprints for something called a Turbo Banana Harvester 3000, muttering about torque and velocity. Kevin attempted to play Stuart's ukulele to distract them, but produced a sound like a duck sneezing. The reverse ray had mixed up everyone's abilities, and the longer they left it, the more scrambled things seemed to get. If Gru came home to find a lab full of kung fu fighting, science-mad, tone-deaf minions, they'd be in trouble. So Stuart, now the brains of the group, scribbled a D-swap formula on the nearest whiteboard. It called for toothpaste, glitter, and something called banana oil essence. Bob nodded firmly, tucking his nunchucks into his belt, and they set off through the lab to collect the ingredients. The toothpaste was easy. They just raided Gru's bathroom, leaving a foamy trail across the hall. The glitter took more work. It was stored in the art supply closet behind a stack of banana-shaped piñatas, which Bob accidentally knocked over in a dramatic slow-motion crash. The hardest part was the banana oil essence. It was locked inside a cabinet at the very top of a tall shelf. Normally, Kevin would have climbed up with ease, but in his talent-swapped state, he could barely balance on a step stool. They solved the problem by having Bob fling the nunchucks upward, wrapping them around the jar and tugging it down like a pro. Back in the lab, Stuart carefully measured each ingredient, sprinkling glitter into the toothpaste until it shimmered like a disco ball. Kevin stirred with a banana, and Bob used his combat skills to guard the bowl from imaginary banana thieves. The mixture fizzed and popped, turning a bright green. Stuart dubbed it Unswap Gel and filled the reverse ray's tank with it. They lined up, holding their breath. Stuart pressed the button again, and a shower of sparkles whooshed over them. Bob dropped his nunchucks instantly and went back to hugging his teddy. Stuart blinked at the chalkboard, shrugged, and strummed a familiar happy tune on his ukulele. Kevin stood up straight, stretched, and juggled 3 bananas with his usual show-off grin. The talents were back where they belonged, and the lab was almost back to normal, except for the glitter that now coated everything, including Dr. Nefario's coat. When he returned and saw the sparkling mess, he only sighed, scribbled "reverse ray needs work" in his notebook, and left for his tea break. The minions flopped on the couch, relieved. They had learned an important lesson. If you mess with Dr. Nefario's gadgets, you might end up with someone else's skills. And while being a kung fu master or a genius might sound fun, it was much better to be the silly, banana-loving minion you were meant to be.